Call the meeting in order this Monday, October 21st, 2019 of the Board of Works and Safety. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the October 7th meeting.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for a regular meeting on October 7th.
I'll second that motion.
If there's no further discussion, I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a continuation of an order to abolish the property at 710 West 10th Street.
Good morning, Sue Downs, Building Commissioner, City of Michigan City. I spoke to Mr. Stratton. He said he was going to be here this morning. Actually, I spoke to him this morning to confirm that he was going to be here. And he said he was going to be here. But his response says the attorney, he won't be the legal owner until the 28th of this month. So he's unable to get a performance bond until after he becomes the legal owner.
So board, just to refresh your memory, at the last meeting you had talked about setting a performance bond for the continuation so that he can try to do the work himself once he becomes the owner. Previously, this board adopted resolution number 2813 that sets the amount of the bond to be 125% of the estimated costs for services and materials to come into compliance to remove the building from the unsafe order that has been issued by Ms. Downs. So I would look at Ms. Downs and just ask her what she believes would be a reasonable amount for the cost of services and materials so that this gentleman can post the necessary performance bond.
And
I figure.
Sure, I came up with an estimate for everything, for a total of everything, interior and exterior of $40,081, so roughly $40,100. That's interior and exterior. Technically, I was just speaking to Ms. LePage, and to take it out of the demolition status, we could probably get by with just the exterior, not the interior. If we wanted to make it a totally usable house, then I would stick with that amount. But if we wanted to do just the exterior, I would say $27,300 for just the exterior.
So again, I would throw this back at you and say, what was your order based on? Was it based on the exterior or interior?
It's not a usable house. It's been vacant for many, many years. It was based on the exterior. The order was based on the exterior.
I'm willing to continue to work with him. So we could continue it until the next meeting at time, which time he should be the owner.
If he's going to be the owner, yeah, you could do that, or
Right.
could set the bond and still continue it.
Well, let's do that.
And he has been he has other projects in town, and he has been a responsible contractor for the other projects that he's done in town.
So based on the order being
$50,000.
bound to do it just for the exterior?
I would do it what the order is based on, and because when you're looking at setting the bond would be what is necessary to come into compliance with that order.
Okay.
So I would set it on the exterior since the exterior was based on that.
And that was what?
27.3?
$27,300.
Okay. I'll make a motion to set a performance bond on the property at 710 West 10th Street at $27,300 based on the demolition order. Also, I would continue this matter. I would make that contingent upon his receiving the title and set this matter over till the first meeting in October. November, I'm sorry. You and I are both screwed up today.
Screwed up every day.
That would, excuse me, that would be November 4th at 8:30 in the morning. And then the bond would be 125% of the $27,300.
I think he's here.
I'll support the motion.
Yep, this is Mr. Stratton.
We just made a motion to accept the bond of, or we haven't approved it yet. We got it up for a vote for, put a bond on it and to carry it over till the November 4th meeting, at which time you'll have ownership.
Yes, sir.
That'll work?
Yes, sir, absolutely, thank you.
So, sir, the bond that's set is $27,300, and it would need to be posted 125% of that.
Which would mean 30-something thousand?
It's, if I did the math right,
Yes.
and don't quote me on that, because I'm just the attorney. 34,125.
And I don't have a
Yeah, I
calculator.
understand. That'll be fine, I'm happy to comply.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
so we have a motion and a second. If there's any further discussion, if not, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Pardon? Continue it, yes. Okay, you can put it there too. Next item on the agenda is a request by Abby May from the Michigan City Main Street Association to extend the street closure for Flame and Fair Flare on the 26th of October.
So typically, in years past, we've closed Franklin from 9th to 4th for this event, and it was my human error when I made the request initially. I said 8th to 6th because that's just what we usually close, and I'm in a habit now. So I apologize for that. But when we had lined everything up with the police department, we did plan to close down to 4th. Our insurance is good for 9th Street to 4th Street. Last week when I spoke to Captain Lineski, though, he advised that we would modify that a bit to just close 8th to 4th because 8th Street is a busy cross street. It's easier for traffic flow if we keep 8th open. So the official closure would just be 8th to 4th on Franklin and then closing 7th Pine to Washington. Sorry for the confusion, that's my fault.
Any further discussion? You're okay, Captain? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the request by Abby May of Main Street Association for the closure of Franklin Street from 8th to 4th Street.
I'll second that motion.
There's no further discussion. I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a proposed property access by John Stalikian requesting the Board of Works to do something that was approved by the 1996 Board of Works.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Stalikian. When development was going on Frontage Road, there was an agreement that developer was supposed to give me access to my property, but developer took off. The city took the street over the Frontage Road. They didn't put drainages. They didn't finish the street. So I don't have no access to my property. And I have two individuals are willing to buy my property, but they cannot buy it without accesses. I'm blocked since 1996. I came in front of this board several times. They blame one department to another and nothing gets done. All those years I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. The state does not willing to issue any permits from 421. They say it's no accesses from 421. So only way I got access from Frontage Road. And what happens in the winter time, which I showed up in February last year, the snowplow even comes and cleans up the Frontage Road and piles all that water to my property, and it sloped to my property because it becomes a drainage there. And it used to be a desert and sandy location. Now it's nothing but wild things growing.
Okay.
And and I feel city has responsibility to give me the access as it was promised with the developer. As you see in the letters, there's many correspondence been done before with Mr. De La Portas, Mr. Fox, and Mr. De Beja, Mr. Oberly, and all those years, postponements, under advisement, but nothing been done. I appreciate something to be done about it.
I understand. Have you researched this at all?
No. I'm not sure if planning has either.
Morning, Spike Peller, Michigan City Engineer. I would recommend that this board refer this to the sanitary district to look at what could be done as far as drainage is concerned, and maybe the law department to determine what was agreed upon and what maybe the city is responsible for.
Okay. Any further discussion?
And the road is not finished.
Right.
It's not only the drainage, the road is.
That's okay, John. I heard you. Any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion per the recommendation of the city engineer to refer this matter to the sanitary district for the drainage problem and to the city attorney for the question regarding access.
Support.
There's no further discussion. I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Correct. Next item on the agenda is a request to remove signage by Kent Lang, 404 South Porter, requesting approvals for the city to remove a no turn on red sign located at the intersection of the Boulevard and Hendrick Street.
Good morning. I appreciate you hearing this minor concern, and I'm certain that you have far more important things to consider here. But this is one of these things that has just been an irritant to me for many, many years. And I know the people sitting behind me are saying, why are you wasting time here just with a minor sign? The intersection of Hendrick Street and Michigan Boulevard has a no turn on red. The no turn on red was never there until the highway, or rather Michigan Boulevard, was remodeled when they put in new signage and put in the flowers in the middle of to make it literally a boulevard. When that was finished, that sign appeared at that intersection. That intersection is also at School Street, the two streets as they hit Michigan Boulevard. On the north side, it's School Street, and on the south side, it's Hendricks. I talked to Fred DeVries when this happened. This was years ago, and he scratched his head as to why there was a no-turn sign there. We have many, many busy intersections in Michigan City where you can turn red when it is appropriate, and this intersection is about as quiet as can be, and yet there is a no-turn on red there. I also represent the Eastport Neighborhood Association, and at one of our meetings a few weeks ago, several of the people brought up, why is there a no turn on red there? And so that is why I'm here this morning asking that sign be removed.
I can tell you why it's there, because the state determined that based on their schedule of how to do things, they felt it was needed there and at Woodland Ave.
I know there's one at Woodland Avenue also, but it's in looking at that, the amount of traffic that is coming off of Hendrick Street or School is negligible, and that is my request. And what do we do to change that situation?
Go ahead, Spike.
Spike Peller, Michigan City Engineer. Now, this was Michigan Boulevard was an NDOT sponsored project and was constructed as per NDOT requirements, and the no turn on red is as per the Indiana MUTCD, which is the Municipal Uniform Traffic Control Device. I recommend that we not remove this sign because it was properly erected.
But the city now has jurisdiction over the boulevard, correct?
Well, yes, but it was done in accordance with NDOT recommendations, and I don't know what would result if we decided to change what NDOT essentially paid for.
Okay. The signs that are up at those two intersections are so faded that even if somebody were pulled over by the police, I don't think they could be convicted because you can't read them. So, well, my motion is to take the signs down, to put new ones up at a time to be determined by the Board of Works.
Take them down now and then
To be replaced at someday in the future.
how about if we get the signs, and when we get the new signs, then replace them?
My motion is to replace them when the Board of Works makes that edict.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think either if you're going to remove and replace them, I think it needs to happen close in time because the public is familiar with those signs. I'd like to keep that consistency.
I don't know how you can say they're familiar, you can't read them.
Well,
Well, I think there was a definite purpose for those signs because
sure
it's on
there was.
it's on an angle and everything. I do not recommend that they be taken down and at some future point in time put new ones up. If we want to replace those signs, I believe that we should get new signs and then replace them, but not take them down and then replace them at some other time. I think it would be confusing to the public, like the attorney
I
mentioned.
withdraw my motion. Anybody else got a motion?
Hi, I'm Skylar Yorks, the city planner. I would definitely not take them down until we let Spike review it, but these roads, most roads come straight across. This road is at an angle.
Yeah.
That's probably why it's there. There's a reason why it's there. I mean, I hate you have to wait, but there's a reason there's a sign there. So that would be, I would at least let Spike review it to make sure that that's the reason. I bet that is.
Keep up the signs you can't read anyway.
Yes.
I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I made a motion to replace the signs and to have Spike review whatever he has to review regarding their being there permanently.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President Janis. I agree with your concern on those faded signs. I use Hendrick Street, Paul Przyblinski, 1716 Washington. Even though it's out of the area I live in, I totally agree with your train of thought, President Janis. Those signs have actually, we do control Michigan Boulevard now. So in turn, we should have a traffic study redone. I mean, to do something there. But I totally agree with your wisdom, Mr. Janis. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Yes. Next item on the agenda is request for street closure by Krista Rose. America Engineering is requesting the closure of May Avenue between Franklin and Washington Street and the asphalt alley west of 2107 Franklin Street beginning on November 18th through November 29th to make necessary injections to remediate the dry cleaning chemicals. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Steve Travis.
Hi, Krista.
No, yeah, sorry. Steve Travis, Americo Engineering. We're here requesting closure of the road to remediate the dry cleaning site located at 2107 Franklin Street.
And this is an annual deal, right?
This should be one and done.
It's been done before.
Well, that was part of the investigation. We were putting in...
It's a different...
The monitoring wells, to define the nature of the extent of the plume, was iterative, and that's why we were here several times trying to figure out where exactly it is to design the injections to treat it all. So this should be wrapping it up, coming up on 4 years now. So
okay. Any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for street closure by Americo Engineering, street closure of May Avenue between Franklin and Washington and the asphalt alley west of 2107 Franklin.
Second that motion.
No further discussion. I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
thank you.
Next item on the agenda is another request for street closure by Fire Chief Randy Novak, requesting street closure of Franklin from 11th to 4th and 4th to Pine, Washington Streets for the annual Snowflake Parade on Saturday, December 7th, beginning at 2:30 to start at 3 and end at 4.
Tony Jevieski, Michigan City Fire Department. I'm here in place of Chief Novak to answer any questions you might have. It's for our annual Snowflake Parade to be held on December 7th.
Same route as last year, right?
That's correct.
Captain, work okay?
Yes, good morning, Captain Jeff Lineski, Traffic Division. This is the same route as last year, and we would recommend approval.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for street closure of Franklin from 11th to 4th and 4th Street from Pine to Washington Street for the annual Snowflake Parade on Saturday, December 7th, beginning at 2:30 p.m. with a lineup at 3 p.m. and with the parade starting at 4 p.m.
Support.
No further discussion. I call for the vote. Yes, sir.
I didn't know if we need to make amendments to it or come back to you, but we also use the Santa House on the corner of 7th and Franklin for children to visit Santa, and that is on every Saturday and Sunday leading up to Christmas. So I don't know if we need to come back before you at the next meeting.
Isn't that redevelopment property?
Not the sidewalk.
Right.
Not the sidewalk. You could amend your motion to include it.
Do you amend your motion?
I will amend my motion to include the Santa House at 7th Franklin Street.
Support.
There's no further discussion. I call for a vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Just so long as I don't have to be the
Next item on the agenda is a request to remove NIPSCO poles on Pine Street between 4th and US 12 that are no longer servicing power cable needs.
Good morning. Skyler York, City Planner. These are just some leftover poles that actually there's absolutely nothing attached to them. They're just NIPSCO assets in our right of way. But we're about to repave Pond Street. I think I would like to take the opportunity to get rid of those as well, and maybe we can patch the holes that they're in at the same time. That's my request. I think there's
Didn't we approve those once before?
we approved a bunch that we had taken down with the high mast, where we had we put up high masts and we had the old Cobra heads on wooden poles. We took all those down. these were not on that list. I think one of them was, and that one didn't get turned down for some reason. Maybe it had something attached to it at the time, but right now there are nothing attached to them. I went down there with the NIPSCO engineer and another guy from NIPSCO, and there's nothing on them. They're literally just vacant poles in our downtown. But if you so choose to approve them today, I'd like to get them to NIPSCO as soon as possible so that we could time it with our construction project. And then also we have someone looking at Fifth Third Bank, and they asked if we could look at getting rid of them as well. So, anyways.
All right. Any further discussion? Now, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the removal of NIPSCO poles by Skylar York, Assistant Planner.
I'll second that motion.
Further discussion, I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is opening of bids for the 2019 3 medium heavy-duty cutaway transit buses. Is there anybody here present wish to render a bid at this time? Not, I'll entertain a motion to close the bids.
Move to close the bids.
For discussion, I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We've received 2 bids. The first is from Tesco.
Page 4.
It's in the amount of, it's in the amount of $410,598. 410-598.00. The second is from Midwest Transit Equipment, Inc. It's in the amount of $405,585. 405-585.00.
I'll entertain a motion then to send the information to the proper departments for their recommendation.
I'll make a motion to refer this matter of the 2019 purchase of 3 medium-duty heavy cutaway transit buses to the proper department for review and recommendation, and to return with that recommendation at our next meeting on November 4th.
Support.
For discussion, I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is another opening of bids. This is for a 2019 small paratransit cutaway transit bus. Is there anybody here present wish to render a bid at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the bids.
Move to close the bids.
Support.
For discussion, I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We've received 2 bids. The first is from Tesco. It's in the amount of $74,468. 74468.00. The second is from Midwest Transit Equipment, Inc. It's in the amount of $69,746. 69746.00.
I'll entertain a motion then to refer to the proper departments for them to come back at our next meeting and with their recommendation.
Mr. President, move to refer the bids to the proper city department for their review and recommendation at our next meeting.
Second.
For discussion, I call for a vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the Michigan City Fire Department will be conducting their semi-annual fall physical fitness testing on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, beginning October 1st through October 31st from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's for informational purposes only. The next item on the agenda is the resignation by the Michigan City Police Department announces the resignation of Officer Carol Patinia effective October 13th for informational purposes only. Next item on the agenda is approval of the claims and payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims and payroll as presented.
Support.
For discussion, I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the unfinished business. First item on the agenda was the neighborhood watch signs for Canada Park neighborhood. Has there anything been done on that?
Spike Peller, Michigan City Engineer. I think the request was to get an estimate of these signs from Central Services.
And we don't have it yet.
I don't have it.
Okay.
I don't see anybody from Central Services.
We'll carry it over.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is a request by Vera Foster, 221 Emma Street, was requesting lights on the park and boulevard playground on Broadway Street. Did we find who owns that property? Who has jurisdiction on the water tower park?
I believe it's in the hands of the Parks Department right now. I think I saw some emails going across to Jeremy and them. I think they're looking into it.
Okay, thank you. We'll keep it on the pending. And the next item was the request by Mayor Ron Meir to place honorary signs.
Mr. President, I think there was two components to that last request, because it was lighting at the playground, but there was also the stop sign. Did you want to comment on the stop sign? I don't know if anybody's researched that. Okay, thank you.
Captain?
Yes, we had our midnight shift commander, Sergeant Ken Drake, look at that at night and found that there are 3 poles located on that dead-end block of Gladys. 2 of those lights are not working. We feel that if those 2 lights were fixed, that there'd be adequate lighting. Specifically, the pole located at the intersection of Broadway and Gladys is not working. That'd be pole number 223 over 053. Sergeant Drake already reported that to NIPSCO through their online portal for repair. The second light is located in front of 227 Gladys, and that'd be on pole number 223 over 062. Sergeant Drake tried to report that. However, the online portal is not accepting that pole number. So I don't know if our city engineer has a contact from NIPSCO where he could get that fixed. But again, it's our feeling that if those were fixed, there'd be adequate lighting.
Okay. Do you hear that, Spike? I hear it. Okay. There's no further discussion. We'll carry it over till the next meeting. And the next item then was the request by Mayor Ron Muir to place honorary signs for Tim Beatrice. Thought I saw something where they're up.
Yes, those signs are up and they look great at Franklin Street and the Art Space Alley.
Okay, so we can remove that item. We need a motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to remove the matter of the placement of honorary signs at Tim Braintree Way.
Support.
no further discussion. I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is another request by the Mayor Ron Muir for additional handicap parking signs on the west side of Buffalo Street near St. Mary's Church. Do we know if those were installed yet? As long as we know. It's taking place. Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to remove the request.
Motion to remove this request from the pending list.
Second.
No further discussion. I call for the vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda was a request by Cora Cambridge, 220 Gladys Street, requesting lighting on Gladys Street and sidewalks on Gladys Street. Anything more been done? If not, carried over to the next meeting. Next item has to do with McDonald's on the boulevard, on the alley that they are to construct for us.
Hello, Skylar York, Assistant City Planner. Just some updates with that. They have not formally requested dedication. The alley is in, blacktop on it. But I believe they're waiting to they still have to put up a fence and a barrier there and do their plantings. And I think that's probably what they're waiting on, is that everything's completed. So
Carry it
and they're
over.
closing off the other alleys. You may not remember we vacated some of it and things
Okay.
like that. So yeah.
Next item is a presentation by We Create Media regarding the last 60 days of their activities.
Morning, Board. Chris Cribbs, We Create Media and Michigan City Marketing. We put together a quick presentation for you all, just to update you on Q3 of our marketing efforts. We've done a few of these in the past. News Dispatch is one of the local publications that we decided to invest in this year. We have some updates on impression rates and some of the ROI that we've come up with throughout the year. So for News Dispatch, we typically focus on local events, local attractions, local businesses that we want to advertise. So you'll see Skydive Windy City, Shady Creek Winery celebrated its 10th year anniversary. So those are the kind of ads that we push through News Dispatch and Feature. In Q3, we ran 10 ads from July to September. So those are actually at 4 cents an impression. An impression is someone seeing that ad. So we have a total of 133,575 impressions from News Dispatch, and those ads reached everywhere from Michigan City to Chesterton, all the way up to New Buffalo. With South Shore, we had 7 ads that displayed in 80 rail cars The cost per impression was less than a penny on that. We reached a total of 1,464,000 people. There are 12,000 people that take the South Shore every day that get to see these ads, get to go to our website and see the listings that we have, which promote local businesses, local attractions, and just to get people into Michigan City. For radio, we invested in 2 local radio stations, WEFM and WIMS. Now, while you can't read the ads, it's just really to show that we created 108 of them. These are all promoting different local events, different local attractions. That's really our theme in 2019, is that we wanted to focus on the local happenings in Michigan City and not just promote the beauty and the parks. The reach potential for radio, they have a national potential for reach because they have a streaming software that they use. They also reach to Chicago through their affiliate station, and then their standard coverage reaches a regional audience. We also put together a monthly newsletter every single month. This is an email. We have 614 total subscribers currently. That number increased 24% in the last quarter alone. We see a similar increase every quarter, and we plan on promoting this more so in 2020. It's just a really consolidated way to promote the different videos we do to highlight different businesses. There are featured local events in it. We actually collaborate with Jim Muhammad from a place called Home, which is a local Facebook page that they kind of post history, pictures, just to reminisce on what was in Michigan City. So we get to collaborate with him. And we also promote Farmers Market and Promise Scholarship through those newsletters. This is the document that I dropped off at each of your desks or at your table. And it was a document that we created for tourists and locals alike to kind of highlight the different attractions, the different restaurants and artisan markets in Michigan City. I think there's 84 total that are promoted right now. We printed 1,000 because this is the very first run of this. We distribute it through the Michigan City Chamber of Commerce and other high-profile locations throughout the city. We plan on distributing even more of them in 2020. And this is the back. We did all the graphic treatment. Everything you see is something we created in-house. And this document will actually be updated every 6 months so that we can make sure it's a more inclusionary document so that no one really feels excluded. We sat down with different stakeholders in Michigan City to come up with this list so that we wanted to make sure that it included a little bit of everything. For social media analytics, I'll run through it really quick. Facebook, average daily impressions were 7,861. That's that many people seeing our ads every day. 343 of those engage with the posts. So if we post the Mac and Cheese Fest, they'll click on it for more information. That's an engagement. So 343 people engage with those kind of posts every day. The page growth in the last quarter was 9%. That's continually increasing. Through Instagram, we have over 2,000 average daily impressions with a similar page growth as Facebook at 9%. And then Twitter, the average daily impressions are 232, and the page growth is at 12.1% every quarter. These are some Facebook comments. I understand it might be hard to read, so I'll read them for you. We came up with a recurring post called Peaceful Moment Monday, and it's really just a way to start the week with something like some natural beauty in Michigan City. We've been posting Washington Park, the waves crashing up on the shore. The reason why I'm showing you this is because there are people who have moved out of Michigan City, who maybe have visited Michigan City once, who are seeing these posts, and they're saying how much they miss Michigan City and how much they want to come back. So ultimately, that's what our marketing efforts are for, to kind of promote the beauty, the progression, and all the good things in Michigan City. And that's resonating with people like June and people like Viola who have lived in Michigan City, and they see our posts, they want to come back. This is a video that we created in the last month and a half, and it's performing really well. Its impression rate is actually lower than the South Shore. It's at less than half a cent. It's reached almost 50,000 people. But I think it's important to note that while it has 376 reactions, it has almost 500 likes or 500 shares,
which means that people are wanting to share this video with their friends and family because they're proud of the accomplishments that Michigan City has had in the past couple of years and in the past decade. And so, that's 500 different shares that a whole subset of a new audience can see. So I'm going to go ahead and show this video.
Daily?
Daily? No, I wish. That would be very impressive. No, that's lifetime. So that's a month and a half worth. So 500 shares. It's very impressive, especially for a local city. So I'm going to go ahead and show this video real quick for you. Hopefully it'll load. If it'll load. I might not be showing you the video. What I can do is I can send you the video. I'll get the email for everyone, and I'll send you that video so you can see it. It's a really cool, very interesting display of kind of the accomplishments, the progression in the city, and the reaction's been extremely positive for the video, and really extremely positive just for Michigan City as a whole. So that concludes my presentation. I want to just say that we appreciate so much that we get the opportunity to advertise for Michigan City. I grew up in Michigan City, and I feel like I've never really had a reason to be as passionate as I am today to kind of be a part of Michigan City. And being a part of this effort, being able to meet stakeholders, being able to meet local business owners, and being able to present to you guys helps to kind of fuel that passion for me. And I hope to inspire other people to visit Michigan City and do the same. So thank you.
Now, when do you come? Do you come back again before your? Because the contract begins what? April.
January.
It's a January.
So they'll be back. Will you be back again? Is this for one more time? Or?
So we'll have a Q4 presentation, and I kind of want to just to let you guys in. I want to recap Q4 and then kind of look into the future of Q1 and what we plan on doing in projections, just to make it as concise as possible.
So you'll be back in January?
Yep.
First or second meeting?
I guess it's yeah, whatever you prefer.
We'll give you the second, gives you another 2 weeks.
Excellent. I appreciate that. Are there any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So put it on our pending for then. Thank you. That ends our to-do list. Anybody from the public wish to speak at this time?
Good morning, Board. Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. I'm here on a couple matters. I have a question for legal counsel. Is the board notified when there's a drop on the drop program with the state? Because isn't that with the drop program, they have to notify in that period when they sign up for the drop so that departments know that they're going to be leaving at a certain time?
Not the board, the controller's office.
The controller's office? Okay, thank you. Yes, I have some comments about some of the paving work being done on Barker Ave, particularly in Lafayette Street at this moment. I don't know who did the paving there or who was in charge of overseeing it, but last week I was in the area and on Lafayette Street, they had paved over a sidewalk, and they had also raised the curb level to where there's no curb left in the first 2 blocks north on Lafayette. I went down to the sanitary district, or I first went trying to find Mr. Peller, and I didn't locate him, so I went over to the sanitary district, and Mr. Cuss sent Mr. Michaels out there with me to examine it with the drainage, but I am asking the board not to pay claims on this paving till it's corrected, and also that this the crosswalks that they're doing on Barker Ave looks to me like they paved up to the work that they did, and now they've changed all the drainage in the area. So I would hope that whoever is responsible for managing those projects is held accountable, and you don't pay the claims on them, because I'm going to be watching it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else from the public wish to speak at this time? If not, any board comments? If not, we stand adjourned.